Bruce Lee collapsed and died at age 32. The sudden loss of martial arts cinema's greatest hero sparked a debate left unsettled for 50 years. In the summer of 1973, Lee was a paragon of physical performance. He was weeks away from the premiere of his biggest project yet, Enter the Dragon, a film that would catapult his career into the stratosphere. His death triggered immediate cultural shock. Rumors of professional assassinations and family curses erupted to fill the vacuum left by his absence. There was a profound inability to reconcile how a man at his physical height could simply take a nap and never wake up. The months leading up to that day were defined by extreme physical pressure. Lee had subjected himself to a grueling training regime to prepare for the filming of Enter the Dragon. That workload had already caused a significant health scare. In May of 1973, Lee suffered a sudden collapse during an audio dubbing session, an event that hinted at an underlying biological strain. He worked in the high-pressure environment of the 1970s Hong Kong film industry, a setting where its brightest stars were expected to operate without rest. Lee was pushing the limits of his physiology in a high-stakes environment, unknowingly approaching a systemic breaking point. On the afternoon of July 20th, Lee was at the apartment of his colleague, Betty Ting Pei. The two were spending the afternoon poring over a script. When Lee complained of a headache, Ting Pei gave him Equagesic, a common prescription painkiller containing aspirin and a muscle relaxant. Lee took a nap to sleep off the discomfort. It was a mundane act, but the last time he was seen alive. Almost immediately, the facts were obscured. Producer Raymond Chow initially told the press that Lee died at home with his wife. This initial deception by industry leadership destroyed public trust, creating a permanent air of suspicion that allowed foul play theories to thrive for decades. The 1973 coroner's verdict was cerebral edema, swelling of the brain. The official cause of death was attributed to an allergic reaction to the medicine Lee had taken. Legally, his death was classified as misadventure, a verdict used when a lawful, voluntary act results in an unintended fatal outcome. The public found such a prosaic explanation impossible to accept. The idea that a single pill could defeat a martial arts icon felt random and insignificant. Instead, people gravitated toward more dramatic causes. One theory suggested an assassination ordered by the Hong Kong Triad crime syndicates. Others believed he was the victim of a vendetta by rival kung fu schools, seeking retribution for Lee's decision to share martial arts secrets with the West. There was also the enduring myth of a family curse, which seemed to find tragic confirmation 20 years later when Lee's son Brandon died in an accident on a film set. These conspiracies persisted because they offered a narrative weight that a simple medical accident lacked. A legend, it was felt, required a legendary end. Modern medical reviews have recently re-examined the 1973 autopsy findings, applying current knowledge of kidney function to the original forensic evidence. Researchers now suggest that the swelling in Lee's brain was caused not by an allergy, but by a condition called hyponatremia. This occurs when excessive fluid intake, combined with physical stress, prevents the kidneys from excreting water efficiently. The fluid overload eventually crosses the blood-brain barrier, putting immense pressure on the brain tissue against the skull, leading to a fatal collapse. Under this hypothesis, Lee was the victim of a biological perfect storm. His disciplined habits and a rare physiological failure brought down a man who seemed physically unbeatable. For 50 years, the public chose Triad assassinations and mystical curses over a doctor's report. This massive rejection of a prosaic cause of death suggests that we find comfort in dramatic narratives when reality feels too random. We see this with other icons lost in their prime. When a death is ruled a misadventure or a medical accident, we often invent a more complex story to make the loss feel significant. Because Lee died at the height of his career, he never had to face the decline of age or the fading of his fame. He remains forever young, a figure who has passed entirely into history. We now have a biological explanation for why the dragon died, but as long as his name is remembered, the myths will likely remain more powerful than the science.